It's time for True Love Knots with Maria Romano. First dates may make you feel fidgety and excited, but most importantly, it's a chance to get to know your potential partner. Listen to Maria as she shares her tips for a successful first date.
Right now. Perfect. Hello. Hi, everybody. All right. How are we doing out there? Everybody in Facebook land, Instagram land, wherever you are. It's Monday night, and it's Monday night with me, Maria Romano from TLK. And I love coming on Monday night. It's the beginning of the week. Well, the week really starts on Sunday. But you know what? We kind of give us a little lift in what's going on in the world. And I like to talk about dating. I like to talk about love. I like to talk about love. And who doesn't like talking about love? We need to have an abundance of love, don't we, huh? So today was just one of those days. Did you ever have one of these days where everything you touched, you had to just keep digging deeper and deeper, and you had to work on it a little bit more, and it was just a project. And everything I touched today, from my email to anything I pulled up to even working out, I had to keep digging deeper and deeper and deeper. Oh my God. We've all had days like that. You know what? I'm here, and I'm so excited to be here with everybody tonight. I've got my adult sippy beverage. It's water. No, it's not vodka or gin, just to let everybody know. Let me know who's out there. I'll wave hi to you, any of my fabulous friends. All right, so last week, I touched on a couple of things. I touched on getting ready and going out for a first date, making sure that you're safe, making sure you meet in a place that's public and that you're comfortable, and what to talk about, try to keep things light. And again, even though it is like an interview process, we all know that, you want to just relax and you want to have fun. And that's what first dates is all about. It's getting to know each other. You're not getting married. You're not making a commitment for life. You're getting to know each other. And too many times I have clients that'll say to me, oh my gosh, I'm getting ready to go on this date, Maria, and I'm so excited, and I know this guy's the one. How do you know he's the one? How do you know he's the one? You don't. It takes time. Listen, I have this phrase, Rome wasn't built in a day, and your mother waited 9 months for you. And relationships take time to develop. So tonight we're going to say, okay, let's say you had a great first date, right? You finished the first date, you both parted ways, and this is what I say, don't always confirm or try to get an answer from somebody. Like, let's say you really like them, right? So don't say really, just say, I really would like to see you again. And, let's keep in touch. Just leave it easy. Leave it open-ended. It doesn't have to be, let's make plans right now. I mean, there are a lot of people, they have to make plans immediately. No. Stop right there. You never know. Sometimes one person might not be too sure about you. You might be sure about them, but they might not be sure about you. And sometimes you have to allow water to seek its own level. Give them time. Thank them. Tell them you'd like to be in touch with them again. Give them a hug, kiss, whatever you're comfortable with, and go home. So now what happens after you go home? All right. What do you do? Well, first of all, do not text 20 minutes later, gee, I really enjoyed being with you tonight. I want to see you again. Let it lie. Let it lie, okay? And I'm going to go through why. We have 3 types of anxiety that occur, and this is what happens in relationships. So just let it lie. Let it wait a minute. Maybe you might want to just tell that person, hey, text me to let me know you got home okay. And I love it. Don't you love it when a guy says, hey, let me know you got home okay? It just makes me feel like they are looking out for me, because we all want to know that we're loved and we're cared for and somebody's watching over us. So that's a good thing. So let's say somebody says, just text me when you get home, and you text them and say, I got home okay, had a great time. And they say, so glad we did, and let's definitely do this again, and leave it at that. Wait a day. There's nothing that says you can't wait a day. And this is not playing games. This is just, again, allowing yourself to breathe, allowing yourself to think about that person. So let's say a day goes by. All right, you might want to reach out to them. So maybe you're the one that's the pursuer. Let's assume you're the guy. Text that person. Say, hey, you know what? I really enjoyed the other night. When are you available to do it again? Don't say, Well, let me know when you're available. No, no. What, you know what? Let me tell you what women like. Women like a guy that has a plan. When a guy says to me, well, I don't really know where to go, where to meet, please. Sometimes we are so consumed with making so many decisions. We want a guy to do it for us. So guys, are you listening to me? If you're the one that wants to go out with the girl again and you text her, don't leave it up to her. You might say, hey, you mentioned a favorite restaurant. Great. Or a favorite movie. Would you like to do that? That's okay. But don't leave it open-ended, because sometimes we don't want to think. We just want to be able to do. We want somebody to lead the way. Now, it doesn't mean that you're being overly assertive, that you're being, you take charge. What you're doing is you are taking charge. You're taking charge of your dating life. And again, you don't want to bombard somebody right away after you meet them. How many times I've had clients, I've had this done to myself. Hey, I really liked you, and I really want you to, I really want to go out with you again. And before you know it, they want to marry you after the first date. Really? Really? Come on. Again, Rome wasn't built in a day, and your mother waited 9 months for you. So that's a good thing to do. You can reach out to somebody a day later, but don't keep texting them. And the reason I say that is what happens sometimes. We have what I call groomers adolescence, and I go into this a lot more into my book, which, by the way, I hope to be coming out in a few weeks, going from just one to a plus one. Yes, I'm plugging my book. I'm so excited. But what happens too is we're a product of our past relationships, and I always say that. And that also spills into our romantic life, how we act and how we want to be loved and how we act to situations. So there's this book called, is it called Attraction and Anxiety? And it's about, there was a study done where they had these mothers bring these group of babies into a room with these scientists, and they were studying behavior. So what happens when the moms left the room, okay, and they would cry, and moms would come back, and they would comfort them. And some of the children, even though their mom comforted them, they were still crying, and that's called, they were anxious. They have anxious anxiety. And then there were other children that when their moms came back in the room to soothe them, they were fine. They stopped. So that's called the secure anxiety. And then the third one is the mom came back into the room and picked them up, and they totally ignored their mother. And that's called detached anxiety. So you have 3 types of anxiety that occurs in children. And sometimes that spills over into our adult life. And believe it or not, even when you hit your 40s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, it still pops up in your dating life. And how it pops up in your dating life is all how you respond when you meet somebody. So if you're the type of person that you've got to text that somebody that you just started to date, it's still new, hey, what are you doing? How come you didn't call me? That is that anxious person, right? They have to know everything. And then you have the person that's very comfortable. They'll reach out to you. They'll say, listen, let's plan a date. I'll be in touch by such and such. In a day or 2, we'll make plans, so on and so forth. That is somebody that's very secure in themselves. And then you have the other person that's the detached. So maybe you don't reach out to them right away, and they ignore you for a while. So you have these 3 types of behaviors. Now, if you're the type of person that you're anxious or you like to detach, you really need to have that secure person, that person that's grounded, that knows who they are. We all want somebody like that in our life. But you know what? You can also become like that if you just take a moment and focus on your behavior. Focus on how you've been reacting maybe on a first date or a second date. Or are you anxiously sitting by the phone and waiting for that person to call? Like, why didn't they call you? Why didn't they text you? They should be home by now. They should be off of work. I see them on social media. Calm down, okay? Again, calm down and just take a moment and think about your reactions and how you're reacting to people. So don't allow this anxiety to overcome situations, especially in the early parts of dating. So start identifying it, and how you can do this is maybe take a moment, take a pen and paper, and think about the past dates that you've had, the few people you've been out with, and kind of write down and see how you used to react to them, right? And see if you were the type of person that you kept texting them or you called them. And before you know it, what happens? they didn't call you back, right? Or maybe you're the type of person, because they didn't call you, you wait 3 or 4 days before you answer them back. That's playing games. That's something that I say, you know what, you really need to think about, do you really want to date? Because you shouldn't be playing games, especially at this point in life. You know, we should be fairly transparent. And what I mean is again, you don't have to lay all your eggs on the table when you are starting to date, but you should be transparent and not playing a game. So if somebody does text you and you see that they text you, you notice it, answer them back if you have the time. If you don't have the time, then just tell them, hey, I was busy and I'm sorry I didn't get back to you right away. Now, some people don't like to, they don't like to text, or they don't really pay attention to their phones. That's not me. But there are some people that are like that. They're not attached to their phones. Kudos to them. I commend you for that. So if you are that type of person, when you meet somebody, you know, just say to them, hey, I just want you to know I like you, and I just don't always respond to my texts all the time. You know, I've been told by my family, by my friends, even my ex, that I'm horrible at answering. So don't take that, you know, don't take it as if I don't like you. That's just the way I am. And some people are like that. They don't like texting. And frankly, you know what? I think there's nothing better than when you start dating somebody, you do something so drastic. You know what you do? You pick up the phone and call them. Imagine that. Imagine not texting and calling that person. Right? Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Oh, there goes my dog. Sorry about that. Who would have thought? Hey guys, calm down, calm down. But who would have thought that those days would have been over with, right? So pick up the phone. There's nothing better than hearing a voice, especially when you start early on dating somebody. You find out when's a good time to talk to them. You know, it's just something that when you hear someone's voice, when you hear their cadence, when you hear their inflection, it's just so much nicer, isn't it, than the text? At least I think so. So think about when you start to date someone, don't get overly anxious or don't get what they call detachment anxiety. Try to be the person that has that secure attachment within yourself. Secure attachment, because that means you're confident with who you are and you're confident in your dating life. And listen, this doesn't happen overnight, because what happens as we do get older and we've been out of the dating world, some of us, and some of us have been in the dating world, right? We recognize that it's an art, and we're still learning. We're learning how to flirt again, right? How to talk to people. Because maybe you've been in a relationship for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, and you have to develop that art all over again. It's like breaking in new shoes. That's what I say. So enjoy the first time dates, the second time dates. So I'm going to answer some questions. You know, I always ask for people to email me. And remember, you can email me, maria@trueloveknots.com. And it's MariaTrueknotsLOVE.com. Because I know that many people sometimes are struggling with their dating life. And if you have questions, listen, there's no charge for that. Email me. So I do have a couple of questions that were sent to me. All right, so let's see. I believe Taylor sent me a question. And she says, okay, I went out on these 2 dates with this guy, and a week went by, and I haven't heard from him. I texted him and no response. All right, Taylor. So he didn't respond to you. I guess we call that ghosting. Have we heard that term? Now, I'm going to ask you a question. Who likes to be ghosted? Who likes to be ghosted? Do you? I don't. So if you dated somebody, you went out with them a couple of times, and now all of a sudden you've disappeared, you know what? Bad behavior, bad manners. Didn't your mother teach you? Okay? You still need to be polite, especially if you live in the same town. Like Las Vegas is a small town. You never know when you're going to come across somebody, maybe in a different situation. And this is what Maria says. So listen to this and write this down. If you're no longer interested in that person and they reach out to you, tell them. Say, hey, I think you're really a great guy or a great gal, but right now I think I'm moving in another direction and I don't think we're the right fit, but I want to wish you the best of luck with your search. At least that person knows where you stand. It's being in limbo that's the worst thing in the world. So don't display bad behavior. Display good dating etiquette. That's all it is. Good dating etiquette. Choose your words nicely. Choose your words carefully. It's like breaking up with somebody. Don't just say to them, I just don't see you in my life anymore. You're just not the right person for me. Always start off with the positive. It's the same thing as if you were being evaluated or you're evaluating somebody in the professional world. You always tell them about all the great things about them. There might be one or two things that they could improve upon. Okay, so start off always with the positive. And you don't have to get into, I didn't like you because I thought you wore the wrong shoes, or I just didn't like the way, you brushed your hair back. Whatever it is, just talk about the positive about that person, but you just don't think they're the right fit. Because listen, not everybody we're going to like and love. So I hope that answers your question on that one, Taylor. Okay, I got a question from Larry. He says, I really like this lady I went out with, and I don't want to be overly anxious and appear that I'm very much interested in her, but I want to go out with her again. So I texted her after our first date. She texted me back. She said, enjoy herself. What should I do now? Really, Larry? Call her. Pick up the phone. Imagine that, giving somebody a call. Give her a call. See how she's doing. Check in with her and see when she's available to go out again, right? Hey, what's the worst that can happen? She might not want to go out with you. That's why you always have to make sure when you're dating, and I give this advice to all of my clients, it's dating. It's like a horse race. The more horses in the race, if one of the horses so happens, has an accident, falls back, there's still other horses in the race. And that's why it's called dating. And that's what it's all about. So I also want to share something with you. I got an email from a casting agency. It's called, let's see the name of the casting agency. So this is City Media Entertainment. And they're a company that's working now with Netflix. Part of, if you've ever heard of the show Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, I love that show. They're starting a series. It's a single series. It's going to be starting in September. They're looking for people from the ages of 40 to 60, men and women, that have children that are between the ages of 18 and 25. And they're trying to interview for people right now that want to be on their show, that have children, because they're going to then take them, I believe, into the LA area. Of course, everybody's going to get COVID tested beforehand, and they're going to live in this house together. There's going to be several people, along with your children coming along, because your children are going to egg you on to go out and date. And we all know that sometimes we need a push. So if this is something you might be interested in, you want to conquer Hollywood, reach out to me, Maria at trueloveknots.com. I will trueloveknots.com. Oh, it is Monday, isn't it? And I will let she know that you are interested. So giving a shout out. Great guy. And I was above the age limit. My daughter's too old, so it wasn't for me. But if there's anybody out there that's interested, let me know. And then also, don't forget, if you have a special event coming up, I want to know. I'll be there. I have my dear friend, Robert Rosen, who owns Just the Bite Cheesecake. He doesn't know it yet, but I'm going to have him give me a cheesecake. And I'm going to go bring it to you. And I'm going to take pictures and post it on my Instagram, Facebook, and kind of feature you. Because you know what? Every time you're out there celebrating, what are you celebrating? Love, right? You're celebrating togetherness. You're celebrating happiness. You're celebrating family times. And that's what's important. Now, next week, I'm going to talk about dating on a budget. Because right now, a lot of us are on a budget. Some of us, our finances are strapped, but we're lonely and we want to meet somebody. And we just, we want to know how to go about it. So I'm going to come up with some great ideas of how you can go out on a date very inexpensively. And I'm also going to invite a guest. Her name is Sophia Sapphire. She really is a Russian girl, and I cannot pronounce her last name, so they call her Sapphire. And she is a dance instructor, and she has a course online called Dance Hacks, and she teaches couples how to dance online. She calls it dine in, date night with dancing. And even if you don't have to be married, so we're going to bring her on and she's going to talk a little bit about dancing, because you know what? Dancing is very sexy. It is. And dancing, definitely you have a lot of passion that comes out. And it can definitely increase your passion. So if you're in a relationship, you've been in a relationship for a while, and you're looking for something to ignite that passion, this might be the one for you. So we're going to cover a few things next week. We're going to cover dating on a budget, and we're going to cover dancing. And remember to go out and spread love, because you know what? Right now, the world needs more people to come together to spread peace and love. And I want to thank you all. I had a great time tonight. And if there's any suggestions you'd like me to talk about in the future, email me. I want to know about it. Go have a great evening and make this the best evening ever. Good night, everybody.